Let me tell you something most women won't admit out loud. There are certain things a woman can do in a relationship that should never, ever be forgiven. Not because you're cold, or prideful, or holding grudges, but because the moment you forgive those things, you lose something you may never get back: your self-respect. Men are told to be patient, understanding, and emotionally strong. And yes, that's all true. But there's a fine line between being a man who leads with calm strength and being a man who tolerates disrespect because he's afraid to lose her. And most men cross that line without realizing it. Here's the thing. When a woman crosses certain boundaries and you still stay, she starts seeing you differently. She won't say it, but she loses something for you: attraction, admiration, and even emotional safety. Because deep down, a woman can't respect a man she can manipulate. She might like you, even love you, but she won't respect you, and once that respect is gone, everything else begins to rot slowly. The way she talks to you, the way she treats you, the way she sees you. It all shifts. This video isn't about bitterness or revenge. It's about truth. There are certain things a woman can do that tell you exactly who she is. And when you see them, forgiving her doesn't make you noble. It makes you blind. So let's talk about what you should never forgive a woman for, and why doing so is the one decision that will either save your self-worth or destroy it. 1. When she disrespects you publicly, she's testing your worth. Let's be honest, when a woman disrespects you in front of other people, it's never an accident. It's calculated. Maybe not consciously, but emotionally. She knows exactly what she's doing. She's watching how you react, what you tolerate, and how much of your dignity you're willing to hand over just to keep the peace. Picture this. You're at dinner with friends, and she makes a subtle joke at your expense. Everyone laughs, even you, just to play it cool. But inside, something shifts. You feel it. And she feels it too. That's the moment she learns something about you. She learns that she can undermine you in front of others, and you'll stay quiet. She learns that your pride is negotiable. Women notice everything. The way you carry yourself, the tone of your voice when you respond, the look in your eyes when she crosses a line. All of it tells her who you are. And when you let her publicly disrespect you without calmly checking it, you teach her one painful truth: that her validation matters more to you than your own self-respect. A confident woman will never publicly humiliate a man she truly values. Because when a woman respects a man, she protects his image, even when she's upset. She'll pull you aside later and talk privately. But if she's rolling her eyes at you, correcting you in front of others, or using sarcasm to make you look weak, that's not just immaturity, that's a test. Here's the truth. Women test men to feel safe. It's part of female psychology. We want to know if the man we're with can handle pressure, hold his frame, and stay grounded when challenged. But when she starts testing through disrespect, she's no longer checking for strength. She's checking for submission. And when you laugh it off or pretend it didn't bother you, she doesn't see you as the bigger man. She sees you as a man who's afraid to confront her. That's when attraction fades and irritation grows. 2. When she lies to protect herself. Not the relationship. Let's get one thing straight. Every relationship has moments where honesty feels uncomfortable. But when a woman starts lying, not to protect the relationship, but to protect herself, that's when trust begins to die quietly. There's a difference between a woman who hides something small because she's afraid of disappointing you, and a woman who lies because she's prioritizing her ego, image, or convenience over your bond. One is human, the other is selfish. When a woman lies to protect herself, she's not thinking about how it'll affect you emotionally. She's thinking about how it'll make her look. She wants to stay in control of how you see her, even if that means manipulating the truth. It's about power. not love. And here's the thing most men don't realize. Women can lie in ways that sound completely logical. We can justify it in a heartbeat. I didn't tell you because I didn't want drama. Or, it didn't mean anything, so it wasn't worth bringing up. Those words sound calm and rational, but what's really being said is, I didn't trust you enough to handle the truth. Once a woman starts lying to protect her own comfort instead of your shared trust, she's already detached emotionally. She's no longer thinking we, she's thinking me. And when that happens, her respect for you begins to fade. Because a woman only respects a man she can be honest with. If she feels you'll panic, lose control, or beg for reassurance every time she's honest, she'll start filtering the truth. But if she's lying while keeping a straight face and doing it more than once, it's not fear, it's strategy. And that's something you should never overlook. Men lose power in relationships when they excuse lies because everyone lies sometimes. That's how small deceptions turn into emotional manipulation. A woman who feels safe being dishonest will keep testing how far she can push it. And every time you let it slide, you make it easier for her to blur the line between love and control. Forgiveness doesn't mean allowing patterns to continue. You can forgive someone and still walk away from them. Because a woman who lies to protect herself instead of protecting what you share has already decided her comfort matters more than your connection. 3. When she uses emotion to control you, not connect with you. This one's tricky because it's something women do so subtly that most men don't even realize it's happening. Until they're completely drained. When a woman uses emotion to control you instead of connect with you, she's weaponizing one of her strongest natural powers, your empathy. Let's be real. Women are emotional creatures. We feel deeply, express strongly, and often rely on emotional energy to bond. But there's a difference between a woman who expresses emotion to be understood and one who expresses emotion to gain control. You can spot it by the pattern. She cries every time you confront her about something serious, not because she's hurt, but because she knows it makes you back off. Or she gets angry, cold and distant whenever you don't do what she wants, forcing you to chase her just to fix the mood. That's not love. That's emotional leverage. When a woman constantly shifts the emotional temperature of the relationship to get her way, what she's really saying is, I can't win with logic, so I'll win with feelings. She'll make you feel guilty, question your tone, or accuse you of being insensitive. Not because you did something wrong, but because she knows how much you care. And that's where most good men lose power. They confuse compassion with compliance. They think that giving in will keep the peace, but it actually does the opposite. Every time you let her emotion dictate your reaction, you're reinforcing the belief that you're the one who must adjust to her, not that both of you must adjust to each other. A mature woman uses emotion to connect, not manipulate. She cries to release tension, not to silence you. She expresses anger to communicate, not to punish. But an emotionally manipulative woman? She knows how to twist affection into pressure. She'll make you feel like the bad guy for setting boundaries, or like you're heartless for standing your ground. You can't build emotional intimacy on emotional control. The more you give in to manipulation, the more she'll test it. Soon, you'll find yourself apologizing just to stop her from withdrawing affection, even when you did nothing wrong. That's how she takes your power without even asking for it. 4. When she starts comparing you. It's already over. Here's a hard truth that most men don't want to hear. The moment a woman starts comparing you to other men, her respect for you begins to fade. And no, it's not always obvious at first. It can be subtle. A comment here, a story there, a question that seems innocent but carries a weight you can feel in your chest. Comparison is dangerous in a relationship because it signals that she's no longer seeing you as enough. She's measuring your worth against someone else's actions, words, or lifestyle. And whether she admits it or not, it creates a shift in the dynamic. She starts expecting you to change, to compete, or to fix something in yourself that isn't broken, all because she's entertaining the idea that someone else could replace you. Women do this for many reasons. Sometimes it's insecurity. Sometimes it's curiosity. Sometimes it's manipulation. Testing if you'll rise to the challenge or crumble under pressure. But the outcome is the same. Comparison is a silent warning sign that the emotional respect in the relationship is slipping. A man who values himself recognizes the subtle cues. He notices when she mentions other men in ways that aren't casual or purely conversational. He notices the tone, the lingering gaze, the way she frames her stories to highlight what someone else does better. And he understands that this isn't about being jealous or controlling. It's about understanding her mindset. You lose power in a relationship when you shrug it off or pretend it's harmless. Every time you excuse her comparisons with, "She didn't mean it," or "I know she loves me," you teach her that your self-worth is negotiable. And when she senses that your confidence wavers because of these comparisons, it opens the door to more testing, more questioning, and more emotional instability in the relationship. 5. When she crosses boundaries and laughs it off, she's seeing what you'll tolerate. This is one of those things men often underestimate. A woman crossing a boundary might seem small at first. Maybe she teases you in a way that makes you uncomfortable, borrows something without asking, or dismisses something important to you. And when she laughs it off, it's not because she's innocent or playful. She's testing your limits, watching to see how far she can push before you push back. I've seen it happen countless times. A man will tell a woman, "I'm not okay with that." And she smiles or shrugs, saying something like, "Relax, I'm just joking." At that moment, she's not just avoiding accountability. She's measuring your reaction. She's looking to see if you'll bend, excuse it, or let it slide. And many men do. They laugh along, apologize for overreacting, or explain why it matters. That's when she takes note. This man can be nudged, persuaded, or influenced without real consequences. Boundaries aren't just rules. They're signals of self-respect and emotional strength. When a woman tests them and sees no pushback, she feels a subtle shift in power. She starts to sense that she can get what she wants, her way, without fearing your disapproval. And attraction, deep magnetic attraction, begins to wane when a man lets this happen repeatedly. It's not about being rigid or controlling. It's about clarity and consistency. A boundary communicated once and respected every time sets the tone. A man who enforces his boundaries calmly and confidently communicates something women feel intuitively. He values himself, and he expects to be valued in return. On the flip side, a man who tolerates repeated boundary crossing sends the opposite message. He says, without words, "My standards are flexible. My comfort is optional. My respect is negotiable." And that's dangerous, because once respect is compromised, it's extremely hard to reclaim. Forgiveness here can be deadly. Every time you let a woman cross a line without consequence, you erode your own authority in the relationship. She may apologize, she may promise it won't happen again, but the pattern often repeats, and each time it does, the magnetic pull between you diminishes. So when a boundary is crossed, even if she laughs it off, respond with calm firmness. You don't need to create drama or anger. Simply enforce the boundary and stay consistent. Because the way you handle these moments defines your power, your respect, and the emotional balance of the relationship. 6. When she betrays your trust, forgiveness without consequences kills. Respect. Betrayal is a word that carries heavy weight, and rightly so. When a woman breaks your trust, it's more than just a mistake or a lapse in judgment. It's a signal that the foundation of your relationship has been cracked, and how you respond determines whether it will heal or crumble entirely. Trust isn't given lightly. Men often think that once a woman apologizes, everything should go back to normal. But forgiveness without consequences is a trap. It tells her, consciously or unconsciously, that she can cross lines without real accountability. And once that happens, the respect and admiration that once drew her to you begin to erode. Think of it this way. Trust is like glass. When it shatters, you can glue the pieces back together, but the cracks remain visible. If you act like nothing happened, she sees the cracks as irrelevant. That's the moment a man loses his standing, not because she betrayed him, but because he failed to set boundaries in response. A woman who truly values a man won't test him by breaking his trust lightly. She won't betray him repeatedly because she respects his integrity. But if a man immediately forgives without any discussion, without setting limits, without consequences, she subconsciously begins to see him as someone who can be manipulated or bent to her convenience. Here's the reality most men overlook. It's not the act of betrayal that kills respect. It's the response. A strong, confident man addresses the betrayal head-on. He communicates clearly what is unacceptable, what will not be tolerated, and what the consequences are if it happens again. He makes it clear that while love exists, respect and trust are not negotiable. Men often think being soft, forgiving, or understanding makes them noble. In truth, it often signals weakness to a woman who's testing boundaries. Love without respect is fragile, and attraction fades faster than men realize. 7. When she uses you and you pretend it's love. A wake-up call. This is the toughest truth for many men to hear, but it's one you need to face head-on. Some women will use you, and some men will pretend it's love. The problem isn't always her. Sometimes it's your refusal to see what's really happening. Pretending that manipulation, selfishness, or exploitation is affection is how men lose themselves in relationships. Women are intuitive. We can sense when a man is fully present, grounded and aware, and when he isn't. If she's taking more than she's giving, constantly asking you to sacrifice your time, energy, or emotional well-being without reciprocation, she's using the relationship for convenience, comfort, or control. And here's the harsh part. When you accept it without objection, you're teaching her that your value is conditional, that your boundaries are negotiable, and that her selfishness is okay. Many men justify this behavior with love. They think, I care about her. That's why I'm giving so much. But caring doesn't mean handing over your power. Caring doesn't mean allowing yourself to be drained, disrespected, or diminished. Caring means seeing the truth, protecting your integrity, and knowing when to stand firm. Women notice this too. When she realizes she can take without consequences, she loses respect for the man. She may still feel affection or comfort from him, but the magnetic admiration, the feeling of being with a man who has real standards, starts to fade. And once respect is gone, attraction inevitably follows. This wake-up call is essential. If you catch yourself tolerating repeated selfishness or exploitation because you've convinced yourself it's love, you've already handed over your power. You need to step back, reassess, and reconnect with the man who has boundaries, self-respect, and a life outside the relationship. Love should never require you to compromise your integrity or allow repeated misuse. If she's using you, it's not love. It's habit, convenience, or manipulation, and pretending otherwise only prolongs the damage. Men, recognize it early. Stand firm. Protect yourself. Because the moment you stop pretending and start acting from your worth, you reclaim respect, attraction, and the power that should never have been given away in the first place. Never sacrifice your self-respect for love. Love isn't enough. No matter how much you care, if a woman repeatedly disrespects you, lies, manipulates, or betrays your trust, forgiving her without consequences doesn't make you noble. It makes you weak. And over time, it destroys the very foundation of who you are. The relationships that thrive aren't the ones where one person constantly sacrifices themselves. They're the ones where respect, boundaries, and integrity are non-negotiable. A woman can love you, adore you, or desire you. But if she sees that she can cross your lines without consequence, her admiration fades, her respect disappears, and your power diminishes. You need to be clear about what you will and won't accept. That doesn't mean anger, drama, or controlling behavior. It means calm, firm, consistent boundaries. It means walking away when your trust or dignity is violated, because no woman should have the power to make you doubt your worth. And no man should allow it. I want you to reflect on your past relationships and be honest with yourself. Were there moments you excused behavior that should never have been forgiven? Did you bend too much, tolerate too much, or compromise your standards? The strongest thing you can do now is learn from those experiences and set standards that ensure it never happens again. Drop your thoughts and experiences in the comments. I'll be reading them, and I want to hear your stories, your reflections, and your realizations. This isn't just about teaching. It's about creating a space where men can grow, reclaim their power, and build relationships that are rooted in respect, integrity, and true admiration. Remember, love is powerful, but self-respect is priceless. Never give that away.